Getting some work done here on a Saturday. Wanted to put a quick clip out about focus and why it matters. I saw an archery competition. That's something I've kind of been to in my spare time. And what they did was they had big metal archery targets. And there was just, a little hole. And the arrow had to go through and, hit the backstop or the foam or whatever at the back of the target. And the farther the targets were away, 40, 50, 60 yards, the opening was just a little bit bigger, but still quite a challenge. So you have a $17 arrow, and when you hit the steel, it destroys the arrow. So the name of the game in this competition was to focus on the opening. Don't focus on the fear of losing a bunch of $17 arrows. Don't focus on the steel, focus on the opening and the target. And it's just, if you did blast an arrow into the metal, you just put it out of your mind, you get ready for the next target. And that's just the same as wrestling. That's one of the number one things that we discuss. Well, I think it's number one as far as being competitive and not tightening up, being able to pull the trigger, have fun in wrestling, score points, not thinking about losing. It's simply that. You don't, the NASCAR driver doesn't think about crashing and, maybe possibly even dying in a fiery crash. They can't, otherwise they won't race well. A baseball player doesn't think about getting hit in the head with a baseball. They focus on making hard contact with the ball. That's it. The NASCAR driver thinks about, winning the race. A wrestler should think about scoring points. You do think about winning, in leading up to the competition to get kind of the excitement going, but you can't win unless you score points. So we always narrow everything down to the least common denominator. So just as a archery competitor doesn't focus on winning the trophy at the end of the 2-day competition, they focus on the target and the bullseye. That's it. 100 targets and 100 bullseyes. At the end of 2 days, you have a score. You either win a trophy or you don't. So even in wrestling, if we don't really focus just on winning, because what is winning? Winning is scoring points. So we always break it down, and it's called having a task brain, focusing only on the task at hand. So there's some good advice, and hopefully it kind of resonates with you, and maybe as a parent can help you to coach or a coach, because too often we ruin it for our kids, and we hear things like, now, remember I told you this kid has a good underhook, or I told you this kid's fast off the whistle. Don't say that. All you're doing is, they're focused on getting hit with the baseball. They're focusing on the crash. They're focusing on blasting a $17 arrow into a chunk of metal. They're not focusing right. Maybe they were, then you came along and screwed it all up. So it's kind of got to be one of those things where make sure mom and dad and the coaches and your teammates and that the athlete himself or herself is on the right path and thinking correctly. There's great advice. Please share this video for us. Check us out at purlerwrestling.com and subscribe. We got more videos coming.